Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to a new episode of Sports News Flash at 12 with your one and only, your weekend sports anchor, Miguel Mike Medina. Man, the Minnesota Timberwolves came out hungry in game three. They lost game one. Game two was an embarrassment. The three ball shooting in game two was horrific. Nasri, although he had a solid game, he went scoreless from downtown. Dante DiVincenzo didn't have a good game, and SGA made his life miserable on defense. Dante, tried to guard SGA, but SGA was too big for him. Anthony Edwards didn't have a good night. Julius Randle was definitely lousy game two. So Minnesota came into game three basically in the same position that they were last year against the Dallas Mavericks. Game three was arguably the most important game of Anthony Edwards' NBA career so far. And this is by far, in my opinion, the best game that I've seen Minnesota Timberwolves play this season in general. They won 142 to 10, 143 to 101. They beat Oklahoma City Thunder. And I repeat, they beat Oklahoma City Thunder, the best team in the NBA, by 42 points. This is the worst loss that Oklahoma City Thunder had this season. This was a beatdown from the beginning. Minnesota was in command from the beginning, and everyone stepped up. This was just phenomenal. They played outstanding defense. One of the things that I saw from game two that I said to myself, they should carry this to game three, is how physical and aggressive they were on defense from the perimeter. And they mostly did that in the first half, but in the second half, not so much. But there were parts of the game where I saw in game two that Minnesota played very good defense, especially in the perimeter. And I said to myself, they got to keep that up. They had to, whatever worked in game two, even though they lost, they had to apply that to game three to be even more aggressive. So defensively, they were great. Offensively, fantastic. They share the ball well. Anthony Edwards trusted his teammates more. And the one player that no one saw coming, none of us saw coming was Shannon. Shannon, before Saturday's game, he only played 20 minutes in the playoffs. So Coach Finch had to do something in this game. He needs to try something different. He needed to catch Oklahoma City Thunder off guard by something. So Shannon, he entered the game in the second quarter, and he scored on the first basket that he touched, and then the second, and then he just continued on and on and on. So Shannon had 9 points in four second quarter minutes, and that was a huge boost, a major boost. So he finished the night with 15 points in 13 minutes. And this is what he had to say. And I quote, I always worked. I always stay ready for when my name was called, and I'll be ready when it's called again. After game three's performance, I definitely see him getting some minutes in game four. And that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter if you're not getting enough playing time, you always want to be ready and you're always being watched. And that applies to any profession. You always want to be ready because you never know when your name's going to called up. You never know when a great opportunity will present to you. So that was fantastic. So as impressive Minnesota's Timberwolves offense were, OKC Thunder's defense was horrific in this game. So the most that they allowed in this postseason was 121 points against the Nuggets. So my Minnesota eclipsed that with 143. Oklahoma City Thunder, they trailed by 37 at the start of the fourth quarter, and they trailed by 31 by halftime. So the physicality wasn't there. They didn't pressure enough on Minnesota, and that's something that they had to work on. Julius Randle, I'm pretty sure that he heard the criticism after game two, but in game three, playing at home, with the crowd behind them, he stepped up. Julius Randle, he finished the game with 24 points on 9 for 15 shooting, and he had no turnovers. And that's another thing. Minnesota had too many turnovers in game two. That's one of the reasons why they lost game two. Game three, they toned that down, and it was more OKC Thunder that committed turnovers. So good on Julius Randle part. So yeah, we have ourselves a series now. The crowd was into it. Minnesota, like I said, they were in command from the beginning, and now they have to win game four. If they win game four, then the series becomes even much more interesting. This series has been mostly it's one of those series where it starts competitive, but then it turns into lopsided. I just hope that, at least for the rest of the series, we have at least one or two very tight, close games because both teams are good. And we need that. We need that. But at least in the Eastern Conference Finals between the Indiana Pacers and New York Knicks, the first two games at the Garden have been very competitive. And the Pacers, they grabbed the first two games on the road. Am I surprised? No, no. For many people, it'll be a surprise, but for me, it is not a surprise. People don't fully understand, appreciate, or don't want to accept how good this Pacers team is. This is a team that is head coached by Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle, whether you like him or not, he can coach his butt off, especially in the postseason. He brings championship experience to this club. He has won as a player, as a role player, and as a head coach. A lot of people don't know, but he was part of that 1986 Boston Celtics team that is arguably their best team ever. He learned from that team, and as a head coach, he won in 2011 against with the Dallas Mavericks. So this is his second tenure with the Indiana Pacers. He coached them in 2004, 2005 when they had a good team. And I feel like the 2014, they should have gone to the finals. But he brings championship experience to this Pacers club. Pascal Siakam, big trade to Indiana last year. He won a championship in 2019. You add both of them alongside with Tyrese Halliburton, who is absolutely fearless. He's competitor, um, very confident player. And I feel that one of the biggest reasons why Indiana could win the series is because they have a bench. I feel like they have more depth than the Knicks. You have listen, you have a duo in Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton, and then you add that with Aaron Nesmith, who, by the way, the Pacers would have not won game one without his contributions. He hit six straight three-pointers. Aaron Nesmith, he's no scrub. Um, Andrew Nembhard, he's no scrub. Um, TJ McConnell, he's very effective coming from the bench. Miles Turner, I mean, this team has a little bit of everything. You have youth, you have depth, you have experience. Game two, defensively, they were better, in my opinion, than game one. They tried everything they could on Jalen Brunson, but Jalen Brunson, he was making those fadeaway jump shots. He was Jalen Brunson was sensational. And I felt bad for him because the Knicks didn't win game two after everything that he did in that game. But Indiana's shooting offensively game two, in my opinion, was better than game one, and it was flat out more it was more better executed, I should say. I remember the first quarter in game two. Tyrese Halliburton made this super nice no-look pass to Pascal Siakam. I think it was Siakam or Miles Turner, but that was a nice no-look pass. But I am, as a Knicks fan, as a lifelong Knicks fan, I am not surprised I knew what to expect coming into the series. And also, I'm no longer that fan that dwells on losses or that I'm gonna go to my job or school the next day thinking I'm not in the mood of doing anything because the Knicks lost last night. No, I don't think that way. When I watch highlights, I watch it like if I'm just a regular NBA fan, NBA TV viewer. So I'm not surprised whatsoever by Indiana Pacers and what they're doing. This team has made three major comebacks, one against Milwaukee, one against Cleveland, and now the Knicks. Now they're coming home to Indiana for games 3 and 4. I don't expect a sweep. I did predict the Knicks to win this series in 7 games, but the Knicks, they're gonna have to take two on the road now. They're gonna have to do it the hard way. So, are we gonna get a surprising dominant series by Indiana? Or will this be one of the series where road teams will be winning? We don't know. Um, we shall see. Indiana, however, they're 7-0 in this postseason in clutch games. So this team is fearless. They don't fear no one. They're they're well coached. They share the ball very well. Good team chemistry. And like I said, I feel this is great for the NBA because the Pacers haven't been to the finals since 2000. The Knicks haven't been to the finals since 99. Thunder haven't been to the finals since 2012, and the Timberwolves have never been to the finals. The Knicks haven't won a title since 1973. The other three teams haven't won a single championship. So this is gonna we're gonna see history regardless, and this is great for the NBA. There's no dynasty, there's no LeBron, no KD, no Curry, no LA teams, no none of that. So I feel like this is great for the NBA. And I believe game 3 is today between the Knicks and Pacers. So the Knicks, in order to be Indiana, everyone has to step up and you have to play much better defense. Going to the next topic, the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're in the conference finals. Edmonton, they suffer a heartbreaking loss in game 1. They allow 5 goals in the third period to Dallas. Game 2, they were much more better. The goaltending, to my surprise, was much better. Stuart Skinner, he recorded a shutout. Edmonton won 3-0 in game 2. So the series is tied 1-1. Florida defeated Carolina 6-2. So they have a commanding they have a commanding 3-0 lead. Never underestimate the heart of a champion. They won the Stanley Cup last year for a reason. You never want to underestimate this team. After what they did to the Maple Leafs, I said to myself, a lot of momentum is on the Panthers side. And sure enough, that's turned out to be the case. So while Dallas had 5 goals in game 1 of the third period, Florida gave that medicine to the Hurricanes on last night's game 3 because Florida scored 5 goals in the third period to win game 3. Oh man. Wow. 5 goals in the span of 9 minutes and 8 seconds. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah. Carolina Hurricanes, I mean, I think we're gonna see a rematch of last year's Cup Finals. No disrespect to Dallas, even though I feel like Dallas is better than last year's Dallas team, but I think that we're gonna see a rematch of the Oilers and Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals. I just hope that the Oilers can come out on top this time. They trailed 3-0 in the finals last year, They won three straight, but then they lost in game seven. Hopefully, it goes to 7 games if we get a rematch. Hopefully, it goes to 7 games, and this time Edmonton to win it all. I am not sold on their goaltending. I feel like it's suspect, but the the Edmonton is just one of those teams that they start off slow, but then they get hot as the game goes on. So let's see what happens. But yeah, game four between Edmonton and Dallas should be tonight. Give me one moment. Actually, it's today at 3. Today at 3. So yeah, hopefully Edmonton takes care of business as they'll be playing at home at the Rogers Arena. So yeah, hopefully they win. Now, going to baseball, I gotta mention this because it's such a feel-good story, and he is one of the best young players in the game. The game is better when he's playing, and that's Ronald Acuna Jr. Ronald Acuna Jr., he made his regular season debut on Friday against the San Diego Padres after suffering a season-ending ACL injury. And on the first pitch, he hits a home run to left center field. That gave many of us goosebumps. So happy to see Ronald Acuna Jr. back. Although they lost that game and the Padres snapped a 6 game losing streak, but that was the highlight of that game. So very happy for Ronald Acuna Jr. Um, yeah, that was just phenomenal, phenomenal. Kyle Schwarber, he hit his 18th home run of the season, and the Phillies now have won 9 straight. They're getting hot at the right time. Now, to finish off this episode, talk some tennis. Yeah, talk some tennis. And I'm going to start with the GOAT, Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic, he added another one into his impeccable resume. He clinched his 100th career singles title at the Geneva Open. He beat Herbert Hurkacz. And although he lost the first set 5-7, he won 7-6 in the second one. Then he won 7-6 as well. And the Geneva Open final between both men, it went for more than 3 hours. So wow, crazy. He did lose the two previous finals, but this is a feel good story. So now he joins other tennis greats like Jimmy Connors, who has recorded 109 titles, and Roger Federer, which he had 103, as the only man with a century of tournament wins in the Open era. And this is what he had to say. I'm just grateful to clinch the 100th here. I had to work for it, that's for sure. And it was cool because, his wife was there, his kids were there to join him, to celebrate the victory with him. And he recently turned 39. So this was just an unforgettable week for Novak Djokovic. It was imperative for him to win, and it was probably meant to be for him to win. So Novak Djokovic, 3-time French Open champion. Now he'll be heading to Paris as he is looking to add his 24th Grand Slam singles title. And I'm going to leave it right there. Thank you for watching this episode of Sports News Flash at 12. Hopefully, you guys enjoy this episode. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Enjoy Sunday. Enjoy some golf, hockey, basketball. just so much going on today. Have a great Sunday, everyone. Be safe, and may God bless each and every one of you. I'll see you guys next Sunday.